So, hello everyone, I hope you're going well. Today we are going to talk about the modern defense, Pirc defense, and I will show you how to crush it and how to play with black. So, do not be impressed if you see 77% accuracy on my side or my opponent's side. It was a very brutal game, and I just want to show you that. We are rated around 2300 classical games as a rapid games on chess.com. Yeah, so everyone sees that and directly says, yeah, okay, it's useless to look at this. But believe me, it's a pretty important video, and you will see that we found a lot of very good moves, and it was a very interesting game. So my opponent starts with e4, and I start with g6, the modern defense. He said he played d4, bishop g7, knight c3, d6, and knight f3. So this is one of the most typical positions that we can achieve in the modern defense. And by the way, even if white decides to play bishop e3, queen d2, it's almost the same. One small difference: when the bishop is on e3 and the queen on d2, we usually delay the movement of this knight on g8, because if we play, for example, I will just show you that. For example, this queen d2, this we can't allow bishop h6, because this is already a little better for white, because we cannot castle at all, and then g4, h4, f4 will come pretty fast, and it's pretty difficult to deal with on the black side, of course. So that's why when we see this type of things, we usually delay and we play moves like c6, queen a5, b5, in order to find some counterplay on the queen side, because that is all about finding counterplay on the queen side. So in the game, he played knight f3 and I played knight f6. Why knight f6? Because I have to castle. It's pretty logical, and we can be it's possible that some of you are very afraid of the move e5, but e5 is never a problem. So the engine will probably say something like takes, uh, and taking, knight takes, and knight d7, for example. This is pretty good, and you see that the engine says it's better for black. And yes, this type of moves are pretty difficult to deal with, but at the same time, it's pretty drawish. So since there are not so many pieces on the board, there is no need to panic, honestly. For example, bishop c4, this, king it there, I don't know, bishop takes. We cannot take back because there's a little fork, so knight f6, takes, and yeah, now there is a fork, but at least you develop your rook, so rook e8, takes, and you see that even though black has a bishop and you have a little worse pawn structure, your pieces are just more active because all your pieces are already playing, which is better for you. So you can find some counterplay even though you have a bad pawn structure. And this is pretty drawish, you see what the engine says. But okay, in every case, I don't want to talk about the engine moves, I just want to talk about the human understanding of this position, and e5 is never a problem, so it doesn't matter. So bishop e2, the idea is just to castle, and yeah, and why not bishop d3? Because right now there is a pawn on g6, so the bishop is actually pretty dumb, and the queen isn't controlling the d4 square, so that's why then we can play some moves like bishop g4, knight c6, and okay, it's pretty difficult for both sides, but okay. It's a little better to put the bishop on e2, not on d3. We do not care what the engine says. The engine always finds a solution, but it's a question of general culture. So I played c5. The idea is that if you castle, I will just take and castle, and it's a typical Sicilian type of position. Why Sicilian type of position? Because I do not have any c pawn and he doesn't have a d pawn, and it's a structure of a classical dragon variation. But white decides to do a small castle, which is better for me, because the problem of the classical dragon variation, the Sicilian defense, is that white will just do a long castle and crush on the king side. But now it's more complicated to crush on the king side, because after a move like g4, for example, or h4, the king will be very weak, so we will find many sort of counterplays on the king side and not on the queen side. So in the game, he decides to take on c5, which is of course one of the best way to fight against something that you don't know. You try to play it till the end. And of course, the idea of playing c5 is queen a5, which is a great move. Thank you, Chesscom. So the idea is pretty simple. If you take, for example, on d6, I would just take on e4, and you're getting crushed on c3, because let's say you play a move like bishop d2, I will take. If bishop takes, then bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, check. If you play queen d2, you lose the rook. You cannot, so you have to play knight d2. And then, for example, e takes d6, and now if you counter material, I'm up a pawn. I want a b pawn. Yes, of course, my d6 pawn is pretty weak, but white has to castle in order to lose some of the problems. So, for example, castle, castle, and now we are just up a pawn. The next moves are knight c6, bishop e6, or bishop f5, depending on your humor. And yeah, so the position is pretty easy to play with black and white and so on. So in this position, queen a5, my opponent decides to play the logical move, castling. If you play a move like bishop d2, we would just play the same move that's the game. We would just take on c5 with the queen. And this structure is a lot better for black for one good reason. This bishop is the best piece that has ever existed. And honestly, if you have this type of pawn structure with a good bishop, you will just win a lot of positions because this type of positions are very solid and you do not have a lot of weaknesses. Eventually, the f7 square can be a weakness. We will actually see that in the game. It can sometimes lead to some serious troubles, but we will see that. So c5, queen a5, castle, and I took, of course, with the queen. And now the logical move, bishop e3. He attacks the queen and develops the bishop, which is correct. And now, pretty important, I played the move queen a5 and not queen c7. If you play queen c7, the problem is that now there is a move like knight b5 or knight e5. The answer says e5, pawn takes knight g4. Okay, it's already on. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, it's not even interesting. Oh, knight b5 now, and now the queen is completely. I mean, the king is gonna get crushed, and yeah, there's just no need to talk about this. Yeah, so that's why I decided to go. On a5 because now there is no knight b5, and now I can just castle or play a6 or knight c6 and so on. Actually, a6 is the correct move, and then knight c6. And now, since all of our pieces are playing and there is no more attack on our king side, there is no need to panic. Honestly, I'm a little better, even though the engine says it's a little better for white. So, okay. So okay, bishop e3, queen a5, rook b1. So the idea is to prepare future b4, which is correct. And decides to play knight c6. I can, of course, castle, but I mean, I'm not sure that my knight is very useful on b8. And since he wants to play b4 now or in the future, playing knight c6 is just a logical move. The internet says it's not a good move, it's just a correct move, but we do not care, honestly. It's just a normal move. Okay, he plays a3, and he wants to prepare in the future some b4 moves and prevent me from playing some knight b4. But this is a little too passive, honestly. Because he let's say I castle, he's not allowed to play b4 because I just take on e3. So it's a little strange. The internet says it's a correct move because it doesn't lose straight away, but it's still a little sussy, I want to say. So castle, h3, and now a6. Of course, I wanted to play a move like bishop e6 or bishop d7, but the fact that bishop is a little to lose because of the knight that is the only defender, it's just strange. I mean, sometimes in the future I don't want to deal with this type of problems, you know. So that's why I decided to play a6. But of course, bishop d7 is just more concrete because you're just putting a piece into the game. And bishop e6, the problem with bishop a6 is of course knight g5, and then bishop has to retreat a little, and it's not so easy to deal with. But okay, the knight is useless on g5, so he has to go back. Actually, this is one of the best moves, just going back. But now it's like useless. It's the same position as bishop d7, and it's our turn to play. So yeah, so bishop e6 is of course a possibility. But okay, a6. He played queen c1. The engine doesn't like this move. Actually, human plans are always bad. So he just want to prepare the move bishop h6 and b4. That's why I played rook e8. The engine says it's not a problem if we trade the black square's bishop, but still, since there are so many pieces on this diagonal, I don't want to trade my bishop. That's why I played rook e8. He played rook d1, which is a good move actually. He prepares a piece which can come on the d file, and I played the move b5. And now the idea is pretty simple. I just want to take some space on the queen side, and I want to give me some possibilities of either going on b7 with the bishop and putting the rook on c8, and probably in the future play a move like b4, because since there's my bishop on g7 and there are still so many pieces on this diagonal, I just want to open up some flanks for my rooks, for my queen, and for my bishop, of course. So he played the move 95, which is a correct move, and now let's say I take the pawn because it's the pawn sacrifice. There's just bishop b6, queen a4, b3, and yeah, I'm just losing my queen actually. So because I have no square, which is bad. So I decided to just to play the normal moves, trade some pieces. Okay, now this is backwards pawn, but still my rook is already on e8, and there's no rooks on the e1 square, so it's not such a problem. I just played 95, a logical move. I just want to go in the center and trade some pieces, take stakes, and bishop d4, which is of course the best move. Now it's pretty interesting. I could play bishop b7 or queen c7, and actually queen 7 is one of the best moves. Actually, I just didn't understood what was the point of sacrificing my pawn structure. So I can understand, for example, c3 f5, because this is a typical type of Caro-Kann defense. Sometimes when you play this Alekhine variation with the pawn, or I don't remember the name of the variation, which you trade the knight on f6 and you take with the pawn, then you can push f5 in the future. It's the type of position that I do like the most. But yeah, of course the engine doesn't agree with me. But yeah, I just didn't understand what I had to do. That so I decided to trade. The engine doesn't like this, but it's not a mistake. It's just a logical move. And now I played the move bishop f5. Why bishop f5? Because yeah, he can try to attack me and so on and so on. But actually, I'm not particularly afraid of his attack. For example, f6, queen there. I can just play g5, and the bishop is protecting everything. He has to go back on d4 with the rook. And then if I want to bring all my pieces together, I can play bishop g6 or queen b7, queen b6, queen c7. So it's never a problem, honestly. But okay, my opponent decides after bishop f5 to play the move which I wanted to see the most, g4. But this is a strong mistake because right now he's just blocking himself from playing the move rook h4, and at the same time now the king is a little too weak, so I'm pretty happy with that. So I just played the move, a very good move, queen b6 in between move, because let's say I just go back on d7. Now after, for example, queen f4, or yeah, queen f4 is the move that I was scared the most. I just didn't understand what was my queen doing over there. I mean, this queen is just useless, everything is protected, I have no way to come in. So I just saw, and it was actually my idea after before I played bishop f5. I wanted to see this and queen b6, because now he has to make a choice, and this is the most complicated part during a chess game. When you have to do something, somehow the position will always turn pretty bad for you. If you play a move like this, I even wanted to try the move e5, and after pawn takes, bishop takes, okay, I have a worst pawn structure, but this rook is just misplaced, the king is still weak, the lines are just wide open right now. Yeah, drunken queen. The lines are just wide open. I will just put, I mean, everything is just wide open, and the position is pretty easy to play for black. Yeah, and the engine says it's actually plus minus equal, so it's pretty good. Yeah, so in the game he decides to play the move rook b4, but now my idea was just to go on d7, and if he plays the move like a4, I have queen c5 in between move, and I'm just going out of this line, and if he retreats the rook somewhere, I cannot take straight away because of bishop f3. It's pretty important to notice that. But yeah, I just wanted to take on a4, and now I'm just up a pawn, and the bishop is going on b5 in order to consolidate everything, and it's pretty easy to play right now. I'm just winning. So my opponent decides to play the move queen h6, but queen h6 is just useless because none of his pieces are just attacking me. I played the move queen c5, he played the move bishop d3, and after a5 rook f4, I will do a big mistake. I wanted to take on d5, but the problem that I had is that in the future I didn't quite understand what to do. For example, this and c4, bishop e2, and somehow I just started to panic a little. Just important to notice, I also had some. Okay, no, I won't say this because It sounds a little weird. Okay, it's just a mistake. I mean, this was also a problem for me, and I wasn't quite sure. Oh, Queen D2. I didn't see that. Actually, that's the reason. That's also one of the reasons. One of the reasons. Why is the problem? Take. I don't. And E5 is in the future. This, and you cannot prevent me from playing D5. For example, this C3. Wow, it's a very difficult pin. It's very difficult. Okay, so I had no chance to see that. If I didn't look for something like this, so I'm pretty sure that I won't find this. Yeah, okay. So actually, it's one of the reasons why I didn't find the move. I didn't saw Queen D2 takes, and now E5 is unstoppable. So okay, it's a pretty strong tactic. And okay, I missed that. I didn't deserve to win. Or did I? You will see. In the game, I didn't take the pawn. I thought that e5 is a possible move, and I was looking at one of Chess Base India videos at the same time, and there was an interview of Vladimir Kramnik who talked about Jan Nepomniachtchi on why he lost and so on. Wait, where's the microphone? He's there. Yeah, exactly. And I just I thought, oh, why not rook takes f7? I didn't look at this move. So the idea is, by the way, if you take, I just take with the rook, and I'm a little better because your king is just too weak. Einstein says it's drawish, but yeah, it still works. Okay, this. Okay, so you have to take only 7, and it's okay. Okay, it's pretty weird, but okay. Never mind. In every case, I just missed rook takes f7, but then I will play pretty correctly. I saw that I'm just getting mated wherever I go, because let's say I go on f8, which is the best move. He can actually take on g6. Linton says check, 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 check. Actually, Linton says something like that. This, and for example, this. And okay, it's pretty difficult, but I just thought that I will get mated, like bishop takes this, and yeah, this is already a big problem, because yeah, actually it's what I saw, but okay. And I thought, okay, I'm getting mated wherever I go. Let's try to give him the most difficult mate, and it's pretty important for you guys, because I saw that if I go on f6, he can take on g6. This is actually what he played, but actually g5 is mate, and I saw this and I thought, okay, if he finds g5, it's mate, and if he doesn't find this, it's losing. And it sounds a little too bad, and yeah, but at the same time, you have to accept this type of choices when you're playing a game. Without finding this type of ideas and tricky ideas, you won't be able to win a lot of games. And the idea is that now he has to find this mate, which is a little more complicated than this mate with the queen and the bishop and so on, because you have to visualize more precisely. Yeah, and in the game, actually, it's pretty funny. I played king f6, and I was sure that he would just take on g6, and now it's not so easy, because after king e7, now he has to find another way to mate me. For example, bishop d6. I wanted to do something like that, and this is actually what happened in the game. So the idea is now that, okay, he can play bishop g6 like he did, but the problem now is that I have queen takes d5, and I'm still and I found all of these moves, and we play this. And now the idea is that, yeah, you can of course take, but I will just take back with whatever I want, not the rook, because now it's just a perpetual check, and if I go there, that's just queen takes d6 or this. So in the game, I found this, but the problem is that I used too much time, and now I have only 15 seconds, 50 seconds, and yeah, he played queen h6, and for me it was a draw. I offered him a draw, but of course he refused, because he saw that I have only 15 seconds. 50 seconds. By the way, I blocked him, because now it's just now I just saw that you're not even a good chess player, because if you need to win on time to win your games, I mean, you do not understand what chess is all about. And I can understand that it's a classical game, OTB chess and so on, but now I mean, we're just working on chess. You played a great game. I played the correct game because I defended pretty well. I find some tricky and good ideas to defend myself. So okay, now it's just time to accept it's a draw, and now try to play on time. And you will see that he will even accept to have a losing position, because the position will actually be losing. And and you will see queen e6 is the only move, and he will accept to have a losing position, but just to win on time, which is completely dubious. I mean, yeah, if I blundered and the position is not equal anymore, I can accept this, but he's just playing on time. I mean, okay, I understand we're playing online, so on, but still, you do not have any honor. And yeah, bishop c6, by the way, is the only move because I wanted to prevent the move rook f3, so brilliant move. And now actually it's just winning for me. And he will actually trade the queens just to win on time. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And yeah, and now here I had to play some random moves. Okay, it was sure that I was sure that I would just lose this game. And here I misclicked because rook c3 is just logical. Now nothing moves. I'm attacking here, and if you go forward, there's just this. And if you play bishop d3, I can just grab on b3, and it's just winning. But okay, I misclicked, and when I misclicked, I knew it was over for me. And yeah, now it's just, yeah, it's still winning, but I have to be very precise. But since I have only 5 seconds, 3 seconds, yeah. Okay, nothing to talk about. But okay, it was a pretty interesting game. I did teach you a lot of things positionally, strategically, and a lot of ideas in the Pirc, modern defense, and so on. If you have some more questions, just go in the comment section. If you're looking for a good chess coach, again, you can just go in the description. There is all my links for my Fiverr account and so on. And yeah, see you in a future upload. Take care.